Mark Zuckerberg says everybody does not want to see misinformation. Not true. Generally, people on the right don't care if they see misinformation. But Mark says to Joe Rogan that everybody agrees. We just disagree on what is misinformation. Wrong. Only the people on the left, generally speaking, mostly the people on the left, politically speaking, and people who are not political, they're the ones that tend to be like, yeah, we don't want to see misinformation. But then again, what is misinformation? How do you decide what is misinformation and what is harmful? And he also talked about how everybody agrees on what should not be on social media. And I would almost agree, except for the fact that I know that it's weaponized, like how they decide who the fact checkers are going to be and how they're going to um, selectively enforce the rules on the right and not the left. That is alarming and is weaponized, and it's not fair because they'll let they'll let some people do it and not other people do it, and that's not fair because if you have the rules, it needs to be applied to everybody. And so I find this to be crazy. It's like I'm just like falling off my chair when Mark talks about this stuff. He's like, yeah, we all agree. Everybody does not want to see misinformation. Said who? I don't care if I see misinformation or not because I have a brain. If I see misinformation, I could be like, that's misinformation. Joe Rogan gave a good example. He's like, flat earth or space is flat. Or, just come up with something that's like a crazy conspiracy and assuming that it's fake or false or inaccurate. It's like, what do you do with it? If it's misinformation, if it's not true, if it's crazy, do you put a label on it that says it's misinformation? Do you ban it? Do you block it? I say you don't have to. But Mark's like, yeah, we put a label on it on Facebook that says misinformation. And if it's really bad, then we may do other stuff because, if it's really, really bad misinformation and it might lead somebody into harm, that they may get hurt or something, then we have to take other steps, further actions. But that's like crazy because how do you know? How do you do? Because this is all about hypothetical situations. Like you have to guess what is going to happen. This is like 1984. This is like pre-crime, pre-trial stuff because you're basically being found guilty before the stuff happens. Because you're basically saying we're going to stop this stuff because this stuff is potentially going to cause people to do some stuff that's really, really bad. Maybe they'll hurt themselves or something. But it's like, you don't know that. And the deeper issue is you really want to go after the source of the information and not the people that are spreading the lies. So if people are spreading videos and photos of terrible things, things that should not be online, you could go after them. You could punish them. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but my concern is always more on where did it come from originally, and why are you not going after them? That's a problem because people are looking the other way and they're not going after the people that started the situation in the first place. And we're not talking about that. Most of the time, a lot of people are like ignoring the origins, the source of the stuff that's being spread online, whether it's misinformation, whether it's hateful, whether it's terrible stuff that nobody should look at, no matter what. It's like you're focused on the people who are spreading it, but not on the people that created it, the people that did it, the people that may be involved in trafficking. And that's terrible. Because those things are terrible crimes that we should be focused on, and we should be trying to stop that. And we should be more focused on the fundamentals of a kind of education that is preventional. You really got to be focused on creating an environment inside the hearts of children, the concept of prevention, the concept of helping them have some common sense of, like, what are they going to do when they run into bad situations. But instead, a lot of people have it backwards, and they're focused more on trying to stop bad things from happening in the first place from a different perspective, instead of trying to do it in the household by having a strong family, a father and a mother. Instead of focusing on the household, instead of focusing on the school, they're focusing on law enforcement, on the police officers, and on social media and other things. And they're focused on, let's try to punish people before they do a crime. And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. You should take people to court and put people in prison. You should find people and sue people, punish people after they do a crime, after they're found guilty. But they have to go through all the steps of discovery and going through a trial and having jurors and lawyers and judges and everything. You gotta go through the process completely and not take any steps out. Don't take any out. Don't skip any steps. Don't skip any steps like they did with Alex and other people. Or, like with a lot of people in DC just sitting there. It's like, that's important. But it's like people are focused on trying to stop things before they happen, which is cool in some ways, but it's not good in the long run because it violates free will. Free will is the ability to do bad, good and bad. You want to live your life, but a lot of times people on the left are like, oh, we got to keep you safe. But that's a violation of free will. You can't live life and be safe at the same time. It's a paradox. And so it's like, life is dangerous, and you need the freedom to do what you want to do. And once you commit a crime, then you should be taken to court. And maybe you will be taken to court. And you should have that right to be taken to court and to take people to court. And you should have that fear that if you do wrong, people are coming after you and are going to take you to court. And hopefully you have a fair trial. The thing with social media, with Facebook and everything, it's like crazy because we're dealing with different jurisdictions in the law, and so it becomes like an international matter because it's different jurisdictions. Legally speaking, it's a dangerous and crazy and complex thing to be within. So it's like, what do you do? But it's like, Facebook should not get involved, but YouTube's been involved. Facebook got involved in a lot of situations where they're making decisions that only judges and jurors should be making. It's supposed to be taken to a court, and then the judge is supposed to rule on something, and then Facebook can be like, we're gonna take down your content because a judge ruled on it. That's how you do it. You don't hire a third party fact checking system and hire a governing board that does that. But that's what Mark talked about to Joe Rogan in the podcast. He's like, oh yeah, we're not going to take any responsibility. We have these other people over here. We have these people over here. Yeah, these people over here. They hire the fact checkers. Yeah. And they hire the governing board that will decide to ban you, to censor you, to put a little flag on your post that says misinformation will punish you. Yeah. But that's not me. That's not Mark doing it. Nah. It's not me doing it. It's a third party. We have the fact checkers. Yeah, that's a third party. But it's like, you're not supposed to do that. You don't need to do that. Not exactly. Not in the way that they're doing it. Instead, you just gotta take people to court, have the judges rule, have a fair trial. Oh my God. Is that rocket science? Is that like a brand new idea? No, it's been around for thousands of years. You take people to court, you have the person lose, and then Facebook can take down the post, they can censor the post, and they could say, Judge so-and-so said we had to. I'm sorry. We had to do it. Because the judges said we had to do it. The jurors said we had to do it. But instead, no. What we got now is, the independent governing board did it, decided, the fact checkers did it. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. I want a right to go to court so I can say what I want to say and say that I'm, say my side of the story. But instead, we have some random weirdos deciding the fate. And like, I've never seen them. So it's like they're hiding somewhere in different countries. And they're going to decide. They're not in the local community. So it's like, that's crazy. And there's a whole lot of selective enforcement of the rules. That's crazy too, because that's not fair. The rules need to be applied equally to each user, each account, but it's not being applied equally. And that's crazy. That's crazy.